Arbitrage versus wholesale. That's what this video is going to be about, and we're going to be considering 6 factors. Those factors being barrier to entry, profit margins, how fast can you get your business really moving, replenishables, automation, and scaling your business. So in case you don't know the difference between arbitrage and wholesale, so arbitrage is where you go out to a retail store, you buy products at retail, typically at some sort of a discount, and then you turn right around and sell those products for retail on Amazon. You find the differences because you're looking for sales, you're looking at clearance items, you're going to stores that focus on closeouts, whatever the strategy may be. You're either walking into a physical regular business store, or you're going online to a regular store and you're buying like any other customer. On the other hand, wholesale is where you're actually buying from either the manufacturer, the wholesaler, some authorized distributor that is able to sell wholesale to you. And that's going to take you having an account, whereas to do arbitrage, once you have your Amazon seller account, you just start sourcing. So now that you know the difference, just in case you didn't, let's get into it. So number 1 is the barrier to entry. It goes like this. For arbitrage, you set up your Amazon seller account and you start sourcing. That's it. You're in. You can even start with a free individual account. Wholesale, different ball game. Okay? Wholesale, you got to understand, you're dealing with a wholesale business, and you will in most cases be properly vetted if they are a true wholesaler. If they're legitimate as a wholesaler, they're going to want your EIN number. Okay, that's your federal. You're going to have your state reseller certificate. These are things that you're going to have to go out and get. You will have to have a professional Amazon seller account that's going to run you $40 a month. Okay, you're going to need to have that in order to work with wholesalers, and I'll get more into that a little later. But you got to understand, you're going to have to go out and find wholesalers that you can work with. Okay, it's not as easy as arbitrage where you just walk into a store or just go online and start sourcing. Okay, so finding wholesalers, this is a job in and of itself. Wholesalers are not excited for yet another Amazon seller. Okay, you walking up to a wholesaler saying, "Hey, I'd like to sell your products." He's thinking, "Yeah, you and the other 50 people that want to sell my products." If you want to do wholesale, it's work in addition to all the other work, because it demands time to build the relationships with the representatives, with the dealers, with the salesmen. Okay, can it be done? Yes. But the barrier to entry, as far as I'm concerned, is a little higher. So I'm going to have to give the point on that one to arbitrage. Now we move on to profit margins. Let's get into it, hustlers. I'm just going to tell it like it is. And later I'm going to show you my account so that you can see where I'm coming from. Okay? Profit margins. When it comes to arbitrage, if you follow my channel, I'm okay with 20% profit margins. For arbitrage, that is nothing. That is nothing. It is common to go 300% return on investment. That means you can be getting 3 times the amount that you paid for the product. It could be selling for 3 times that amount on Amazon. That is common. Okay, wholesale, it's not going to happen. Okay, you're going to learn real fast when you're starting in wholesale, even when you're supposedly getting, anywhere between 25 and 35% discounts. You're going to wonder how people are making any money. But in wholesale, it's all about the volume. Okay, so that brings us to another point. with wholesale, don't be surprised if you have your minimums. There may be minimum order quantities. They're in the business of wholesale. They're not in the business of retail. So if you think you're going to walk in there with these onesies and twosies because you want to dip your toe in the water and see, that's more once you establish relationships and you're already, you got something going, then you may say to your sales rep, hey, I was looking at that SKU, I might want to try that, and he may say okay, but you're not going to get the deep discounts. You have to have the volume for that. Okay, let's go on to the next point. How fast can you get your business really moving? Now, what I mean by that is, how long is it going to take from the time that you start this business to where it's actually churning? It's got some momentum. You can really see some profit starting. I'm not saying you're getting rich. I'm saying it's regular. It's somewhat predictable. It's actually moving. Okay. Well, I can tell you right now, when you get started with arbitrage, you can get started pretty quick getting the business moving, because like I said before, you get your seller account going and you just start, and it's just as fast as you can source and get those products into Amazon if you're doing FBA, or if you're merchant fulfilling, you can really get started right away. When it comes to wholesale, it's going to take time to really get your business moving, because if you don't already have wholesalers ready, okay, it's just going to take time, because you got to put the work in to establish accounts. You got to put time in to build the relationships. You're going to have to test products the same way you're going to have to do with arbitrage, but it just takes longer, in my experience, to get things going. I'm not saying that wholesale is not good, so don't get me wrong. I still do some wholesale. Okay, so just a quick recap. Barrier to entry, I gave the point to arbitrage. Profit margins, definitely goes to arbitrage. Now, there are trade-offs, guys, so don't think that I'm telling you one over the other necessarily. At the end of this video, I'm going to tell you what I think you should be doing, so hang around for that. But don't, if it sounds like I'm skewed towards arbitrage, listen, I got started with this in wholesale, so I'll explain that when I show you my account. Okay, next we're on replenishables. Now, this one is going to be interesting, so pay attention, because a lot of people, especially newbies, they want replenishables. That's the sexy word when it comes to selling on Amazon, because in your mind, when you're thinking replenishables, you're thinking easy, right? You're thinking, all right, instead of having to spend the money, instead of having to spend the time sourcing products, I can find something that I can just keep sending in over and over again, and that's great. So theoretically, just by virtue of the business model, you would give the point to wholesale, right? Because arbitrage, you got to constantly be looking for new products, okay? Yeah, I got news for you. When it comes to wholesale, theoretically, you should, replenishables is the way to go. But I got news for you. Just because you're doing wholesale, and I don't care if you're buying from the manufacturer directly, through an authorized distributor, wholesaler, whatever, if you're thinking that every time you call up your sales rep and you say, hey, I want so many of this product, if you're thinking he's going to have that available every time, see, having a replenishable means nothing unless you can complete the replen, meaning it's one of your replenishables, but is it available? Can you make the order and get it into the warehouse? Because just because you have that as a replenishable, there's no guarantee that it's going to be available. If you think that you're the only person, buying those units, I got news for you. That's not how it is. So I'm just telling you, because I do wholesale, and you're going to be very frustrated, especially if that's your only business model, because you may only have a few products or SKUs that you're dealing with. And hey, when one is out of stock, that's going to affect you. Then you get to play the game where you ask the sales rep, well, when are you going to have more? What is he going to tell you? It depends. It depends. He may say, oh yeah, we should have those pretty soon. That way you keep calling back and getting the same line. Or he may say, I don't know. Possibly we may never get that again. You see what I'm saying? And now you're looking for more products. Wait a minute. You got into wholesale because you didn't want to do like arbitrage, right? Everything was going to always be there when you wanted it. Yeah, young Padawan, you're learning so much. Okay, so here's the deal. When it comes to arbitrage, I have replenishables that I can actually count on with arbitrage, okay? And it's rare that they go out of stock, and I'm getting better margins. So I'm going to split the point, okay? In other words, I'll give a point to both arbitrage and wholesale because one is not better than the other, not in my experience. So we move on to our fifth point to consider, and that is automation. How can you make this automatic? And yes, in that case, the point definitely goes to wholesale. Why? Because with wholesale, most wholesalers will go ahead and send that inventory directly to Amazon for you. If you're doing FBA, they know how to do it. It's been around. They know what they're doing with that. So for that reason, and even if you're doing merchant fulfilled, a few clicks of the mouse, the product is headed your way. You don't have to go sourcing for the products. So I would give the point on automation to wholesale. And then finally, scaling your business. Again, I would give the point to wholesale because, again, we're talking about you working the business. Of course, you can hire other people. You can hire people whether you're doing arbitrage or wholesale. But we're looking at it from the standpoint of this is just you. Especially if you're a beginner, it's just going to be you. You're going to be limited. You can only scale the business as much as you can scale yourself, right? But with wholesale, again, you're going to leverage the resources of others. They're going to get those products to Amazon for you. So all you have to do is really focus on, you can work on the business instead of working in the business. Now, there's a trade-off for that. There's a trade-off. That takes us back to number 3. How fast can you get your business moving? Once you get your wholesale business moving, then yeah, it can exceed what you're doing with arbitrage just by virtue of the time that you save. Okay, time that you save is time that you earn, right? So at the end of the day, that's my take on it. But now let's take a minute and let's look at my Amazon account. There's a couple of things I want to show you just so you understand exactly where I'm coming from. Okay, so this is what I'm talking about. So today is November the 16th, the year is 2020. And if we look at my account for the last 30 days, I've done almost 14,000. That's about where I hang out at. So far today, we've done 12 units for $317.80. And if we go in, there's a couple things I want to show you real quick, just so you understand where I'm coming from. If we look at year to date, I'm just over 172,000. And you have to understand, I'm a working class hustler. That means I work a regular job. If you follow my channel, you know I'm a truck driver by trade. No big deal. But you have to understand, this is what I'm doing. And let me show you something. If you come over to reports and you come down to your tax document library, I have 1099Ks that go back to 2011. I want to say that's about the year that they started putting them out there, but I'm not sure. My point is this. I've been on Amazon for quite a while. Now, I had a break from 2014 until 2017. I had a break, and that's another story. But my point is this: I came into this business. I came on to the Amazon platform doing wholesale, so I know what I'm talking about with all the points that I brought up. So that's just for reference, okay? So again, the bottom line is this. When you look at the calculations, overall, I give arbitrage the edge, especially for beginners. But then the question becomes, what should you be doing? Okay? Should you be doing arbitrage or wholesale? Well, that depends. That depends on, your level in the game. What's your body of work? What have you done? Because, and here's what I mean by this. If you're just starting out in business, you haven't proven that it's worth your time, your effort, and your energy to start out wholesale, okay? There's a lot more involved with wholesale. Wholesale is not going anywhere. If you want to do wholesale, you can do it. I do not recommend. If you don't have experience in business, in any kind of business, I don't recommend it, because all the things that you're going to spend time doing before you even make any money and before you've even proven that you're going to do this business. So you got to understand something. I'm asking you to consider seriously, I'm saying be serious with yourself. What's your body of work? What have you done? If you haven't done anything, then you simply have not proven that it's worth it for you, okay? I'm not talking about, what you're thinking. I'm not talking about your potential. Your potential means nothing. It doesn't get you anything. What you do is what's going to get you something, okay? Even the Bible says, judge a tree by the fruit that it bears, not the fruit that it talks about, not the potential fruit that it could bear. What fruit is coming out right now? If you haven't done anything right now, I recommend arbitrage. I recommend a free Amazon account. That way you can play around with this and then prove to yourself that you're serious about this business. How many people come into this thinking this and thinking that, and then when it comes time to the work, it just doesn't work out for them? And that doesn't mean that they're bad people, but I would hate to see you get into this and spend the time, effort, energy, and money to get everything that you're going to need to go wholesale, only to find out, hey, it really wasn't for you or whatever. So that's my take on it. At the end of the day, I do a hybrid. I do some wholesale and I do some arbitrage. So if you're able to do both, that would probably be the best. I'm not saying that one is necessarily better than the other, but if you're a beginner, I highly recommend you start with arbitrage, just because of the barrier to entry, the profit margins, and how fast you can get the business really rolling and get some momentum. Those are very important factors. And if you don't have yourself established, that's not going to happen with wholesale, okay? So, now of course, you have your outliers. So if anybody has any better experiences, if they started out wholesale and everything was going great, let me know. But, I'm telling you right now, it's going to be a lot of work. And I can tell you the truth. I'm okay showing my numbers. I do it all the time. And I don't have to paint a pretty picture for you, okay? Because I don't have to sell you a course. Guess what? I'm doing the business. So you do what you want to do. I'm not really motivated to get you to buy anything because I'm busy doing the work and then sharing and then creating and then trying to offer value to you. So, I'm neutral when it comes to this. You do what you want. I'm just telling you my perspective. So if you have any questions, if there's something that I didn't cover, if there's something of value that you'd like to add, please leave a comment. I do recommend that you subscribe to the channel, that you hit the bell notification. That way you don't miss any of the videos. We publish 4, one of which is a live stream every Saturday, and one is we call it Jump On It. That's one we put out every Wednesday, and that one is focused on giving free leads, and they're ungated. That way, if you're a newbie, you can jump right on it. Okay, my name, by the way, is Horace, also known as La Machine, and if you'd like to connect with me, you're more than welcome to do that. All you have to do is text the number that you see on your screen. Text the words "working class hustler," and I will respond and let you know that we are now connected, and you can ask questions. You can get with me for consulting, coaching. We have a lot of stuff down in the down in the description, I meant to say. So check out everything. I do recommend that you watch the 7 steps to picking a profitable product. I do recommend you take the free lightning course and the lightning course part 2. That way, whether you're doing wholesale or arbitrage, if you want numbers like me, you can use the software Tactical Arbitrage, and we show all about that on this channel. So I will see you in the next video.